professor. He's now a professor. Professor Steve the Ref.
If you really want to know,
Lord. Oh my word. Okay. Lord Steve the Ref.
anyway, I'm just going to put this away because I've got to get this registered actually.
Oh, okay.
So
So
that's going away, out of the way,
Lord
right out of the
Professor,
way.
whatever he wants to call himself today.
No, I just used my title that I got for doing my degree.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
it's Steve the Ref, but to be fair, I'm not refereeing at the moment, so it's a little bit unfair to be Steve the Ref.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's like
So what
saying,
should I call you today? Professor or Lord?
no, Steve. The
Oh,
thing is, you wouldn't want me to be calling you Tara the Hooker because you've given up doing that, and you would have been something else, don't you?
well, sometimes I might, revert to my past.
Only if you're undercover.
Yeah, literally.
So I'm going to
Oh,
move my light bulb because my light bulb is now shining in such a good spot. There we go. Can you still see me? Unfortunately for you.
yes, I can see you.
Right. I'm going to unplug that and move that because I had to do a quiz very quickly because some of us have been up watching the Super Bowl.
I was going to say that's what we're going to start with. Bit of Super Bowl.
Well, the two best teams got to the final, which is the best thing.
Yes.
I've got to be honest, and I know I'm saying it after the event, but my betting account will prove it. I did back the Niners and the Chiefs very early in the season. And I have to say, in all honesty, I had a saver on the Ravens and the Bills. And if you look where they all got to, I had a pretty good chance of getting to the Super Bowl, to be fair. So, by the way, you're very dark. I don't know where you've fallen in. Where are you?
Oh, I know. I'm not in the study today. It's being used.
Right. Well, wherever you are quite dark. I mean, that's
What?
fine,
Hold
because
on. Hold
obviously
on.
you're more tan than I am. But I mean, only marginally.
Is that any
Hello,
better?
Tara. There's Tara. If
Is
you
that
smile, we
better?
can all see you.
I'll
um,
keep my mouth open then.
yeah,
No,
um,
that's even worse. That looks darker now.
well,
Hold on.
as long as that's it,
How's that?
that's all right. Well, it's
Okay.
all right. Yeah, if you keep wibbling him out, I mean, it's nothing like being prepared for 6:30, is it?
Well, I've never done it upstairs before, so like my
Pardon?
lighting is really messy. It looks very oh, I don't know, I
You've
look
never
like
done what upstairs before?
the show.
Oh, okay.
What? What?
Luckily,
Hold on a
most of our
minute.
listeners, well, all three of them, they're all adults, so we're okay.
So you should see I'm sitting here with my hand on the lamp trying to shed some light. So I'm gonna get
Trying to
cramp
shed,
soon.
if you want to start shedding some light, it's a bit late now.
It's a bit look, I'm getting all ghosty.
You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. The light should have been on your other side.
Oh dearie me. I can turn it a bit. Is that a bit better? No, now you're getting a
Not
glare. Oh
really.
well.
It doesn't really matter if you're in the dark. Usually you disappear about 4 times a show. So.
She's gone again. Where's she gone? Okay, so
You're in
NFL.
your
Oh gosh, there's so much
pajamas.
to talk about. Eh?
What's that? Pajamas?
No, it's my fleecy top to keep me warm. It is
Oh, you're in
winter.
one of those oofies, isn't it? Or whatever they call them?
An oofy. That's my robot vacuum.
Whatever. My daughter's got one. Onesie. Not
What a
oofie. Onesie.
robot vacuum?
No. What you wear when you just put one thing on.
Oh, the onesie.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not an
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I feel the
oofie.
cold, so
She
it's
used to
got to
go,
be warm.
anyway. So the Super Bowl, brilliant. Was the best two teams and was the best game. And I know there were more San Francisco 49ers fans there, but I couldn't lose no matter who won because I stood to win either way. So I didn't really care. But my gut instinct was the Chiefs would win. I posted it on Facebook before the game started. The Niners had the best offense, but the Chiefs had the best quarterback. And that's exactly what happened. Do you have a
Okay.
question? Yeah. Yeah, why have I lost all my hair? Where did that go?
Well, that's probably watching too much Super Bowl. That's where it's gone.
Super. Oh. I've watched.
So,
Do you know, I think I've watched at the last 40. I think I watched 37 of them.
so when was the last time a team won back-to-back Super Bowls like
20 years
Kansas?
ago. I think it's
That's a
about
good
20 years ago.
record.
The Patriots must have done it.
Yeah, oh yeah, they probably have. So
But
how did it?
Brady,
How was the play-by-play? Now, bearing in mind, I don't understand American football at all.
well, do you know, I get a lot of people saying that to me, and I'm not an aficionado. I'm not aficionado, but in all honesty, it's actually quite simple to understand. I think the bit that confuses people, they don't understand why all these people are running one way and then they run the other way. I think that's the bit that confuses them. But
No, you know what
it,
I don't understand is why do they have a separate team for the offense and a separate team for the defense?
that makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. See,
You know, there just seems
in
so many
rugby,
people.
well, that's the thing. In rugby, if you're playing rugby league, which I think people know what rugby league is, and rugby union, the difference is you've got 13 in rugby league and 15 in rugby union. In rugby league, you kind of attack as a team, and the same people defend as a team.
Yeah,
And half of the team is defenders, which are the big guys, the pack, if you like, and the other half are the ones like the wingers and the quarterbacks or whatever. Not quarterback. I forget what they call them. I really couldn't give a monkeys about rugby, so you've asked me the wrong thing. But they're on the inside of the four that run along in the line, sort of thing. I think the one on the right, on the winger, is the winger, and there's a fullback as well. But that's not my sport, rugby. But I understand that there are half of them are sort of meatballs in defence, and the other half are trying to run forwards.
right.
And you get that in rugby union as well. But in the NFL, you've got to understand that there are 12 of them there are 11 on the pitch. But if they were attack and defence at the same time, you'd have to have 22 of them on. There's too many people.
Well,
And
why
it's
can't
not,
the one set of players, like they do in most sports, do attack and defence?
yeah. Have you ever thought how tiring that is in their game? It, the power that
Well,
you need, it's not like rugby. Rugby's play. I know I've always said this. As much as I'm not a lover of rugby, rugby league is probably the toughest male sport on the planet,
okay.
and certainly at professional level. And I don't think anyone else who does a sport would probably disagree with that. What I call a sport, that is not something that's not a sport. So, I mean, that is a tough. You get really hit in that game, and they don't kick the ball much. That's the thing with rugby union. When I did have to play at school, I only ever wanted to kick the ball because I've never understood the point of getting beaten up. Um,
Well, isn't
no,
that the
but
same for American football?
well, that's the
Isn't it the
thing.
same?
American football gets some really bad injuries, head injuries and neck injuries, obviously, like rugby does as well. But with
Yeah,
American football, you're asking your players. Some of them are defending whilst you're on attack. That's the point.
yeah,
And some are attacking like it is in rugby. You've got some defending and some attacking at the same time. In rugby, the scrum all falls down and they sort of push and roll around and try and move forward slowly. And then the guy who's the halfback or whatever they call him, he or fly half, whatever it is, fly half. That's it. And scrum half, they try and throw the ball to the guy who's now running along the line and
yeah,
kind of that is similar in American football. You've got the guys who are at the front who try to block the opponents getting to their quarterback because he's got to throw the ball or pass it to someone to run with it. And you've got to protect him. And it's a bit like that in rugby. The pack are protecting the other players in a position to try and get the space to allow them to run with the ball. So it is similar in that respect, except that they throw it forwards, obviously, in NFL.
yeah, yeah.
You can throw laterally, but normally you throw forwards. But the thing is with the NFL, which is why when you watch a game live like the Super Bowl, there's a lot of stoppages, much, much worse than a normal game.
Mm,
The half time took. I watched the game yesterday. It started at 11:40 on the dot, and the first quarter was nil nil. It was very rare, no points in the first quarter. and it was 12 minutes past 12, and I thought 32 minutes for a 15-minute quarter. They're playing very quickly. And the second quarter started at 12:14 because they have a turnaround. Because you've got to remember, in America at the moment, the adverts that are on 5 seconds is $1 million.
Wow. I think they said
So,
something like the cheapest seats tickets was like 3,900 and something
oh,
dollars.
it's mad. It's madness. It's utter
That's
madness. I mean,
crazy.
I couldn't go to a game of American football. I've been, but I couldn't go to a game. I won't pay money like that. Even if I was a multi-millionaire, I've no interest in chucking it away. You know,
Yeah.
if Spurs ever got to the Champions League final again, seriously now for a minute, and it might be 5 years' time, and I can get a
Mm,
seat and it's £5,000, I'd probably pay it. It's one off, might never happen again in my lifetime. I'd probably do it.
mm.
But would I do it for a regular game of football? No, I don't. It hasn't got value for me.
I know it's a big deal. I get that, but
It's
like
like going on
nearly four
Concorde.
thousand
Would you fly on
pounds.
Concorde? If you had the money and Concorde was still going, would you fly on Concorde?
Oh, I'd do it once. Yeah.
There you go. So it's 10 grand to go from Heathrow to New York in 3 hours. You've got a business meeting that you're going to sign a contract because you're a recording artist and you're going to get 50 million for doing it. The £10,000 ticket or £20,000 ticket doesn't mean anything, does it? You just go, thanks very
No.
much, I'm off. You know,
Yeah.
Phil
Yeah.
Collins, if you remember, I know you're very young, but you must remember Live Aid.
Oh,
So
that's so
Phil
nice.
Collins, Phil Collins was in London at Wembley, and he flew on Concorde to America to do another show in
Oh, that's
America.
right. Yeah,
Right,
I remember that.
but everything was laid on for him. So you must remember this first of all. This isn't you or me, who are basically just Joe Blogs. But if
Mm,
I'd have been at Wembley Stadium and I left Wembley Stadium at 2 o'clock to get to Heathrow, and this is, Terminal 4 in those days, you get to Heathrow at, say, 2:45. You've got to wait in customs, you've got to fart around for 45 minutes, you've got to go this, this, and this, and this, and the plane leaves at 5 o'clock, and you haven't been there early enough for you to even get on the flight. But because they make all the plans because of what's happening, and he's specially assigned a seat and everything else, he didn't have to go through all that rigmarole that normal people would have done.
yeah,
So
that's
he was
true.
able to get from where he was to get to the flight. He would have obviously got on the flight literally 10 minutes before it was leaving. Everyone would have
Yeah,
known who he was by his passport, what his entourage, and that, God knows, all laid on beforehand. He would have been walked out of the terminal onto the tarmac and up the stairs rather than all the other rigmarole going around the block. 100%. When he gets to America, to New York, he's got a taxi waiting outside, limousine waiting outside. Literally, he's off the tarmac,
probably
front
with a
row
police
seat on the
escort.
plane. Yeah, he's straight out the door, whoosh, bang, straight into the stadium. He's there. So he door to door, he was probably 4.5 hours.
Mm,
So if you think about it, with the 5 hour time difference, it wasn't a problem.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
but Joe Blogs, if you try now, and if they were having those flights today, and you leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, you arrive in New York at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm,
Okay. So you've left at 10, but you would have had to be at the airport 8 o'clock, let's say, not using current conditions, but I'm just saying at 8 o'clock, which
yeah,
meant you've left at 7 at least from your house. So if you take it that way, you get there and then you've got to get across to where you're going to. The time difference is 50% more. This was all laid
mm,
on for him specially, and I understand why. It was charity and everything else. That was a very special occasion.
it
So
was. Yeah.
yeah, I would
So
like to
the
have flown in Concorde. Obviously, I saw it and I stood next to it, but I never had a chance to fly on it, and I'd love to have done that.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
no, I've
Unbelievable.
never got anywhere near it.
Well, it was. It used to sit in Terminal 4 in the hangar, and they used to bring it out in the morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning because it was cleaned all over the night time between about 10 and 4. They used to roll it out about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it used to sit there. I used to see it in the mornings when I was at Heathrow at sort of 4:15, 4:30 in the morning, and it'd be sitting outside Terminal 4 at the hangar, and then it would be wheeled out into position. And I think it used to take off about 5:30.
Wow.
Used to go to Barbados.
Nice.
That was originally went to Barbados. Used to get to Barbados. I think it was about 4 hours.
Gosh, if only.
Yeah, Barbados is lovely.
Very nice. So, first question. What's your first question?
Oh, well, who am I?
Who are you? Yes.
Well, I did one for you. So, bearing in mind that you're not as old a duffer as I am,
Okay.
I thought I'd pick someone who's your age group. So, this person's only 72. No, it's not. This is a man. I'm giving you some clues. This is a very, very, very famous man in his sporting field. Okay.
Okay.
But we are talking right up there at the pinnacle of his sport. Okay.
Yep.
So I don't want you to say, I never heard of him, because this person is very famous.
Okay.
All right. So, number one, I'm a very well known male in my field of sport. That's my helping bit. I was born in 1970.
Okay. Oh, is that it
So,
for now?
that's your first bit. Yeah,
That's
you
the
can't
first
be
bit.
giving too many helps.
Okay. 1970. Okay,
Going
cool.
back to the NFL last night was amazing. Now, I know you won't know this fact, but the Chiefs have been in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. And in the last 2 before last night, they've been 10 points behind in every one of them and won it. And exactly
Really?
the same, yeah, and exactly the same thing happened last night. That's
Wow.
amazing. I mean, if
So,
they've
so
got,
what are they, kind of slow starters or?
I think you had 2 very attacking sides in that game. I've got to say it. And I think that most people would have had the Niners as very slight favourites because of the fact that they were, San Francisco, Las Vegas isn't exactly that far.
Mm.
They're West Coast, so of course you've got that kind of support. They've got 3 superb players in their team. I mean, George Kittle's a fantastic tight end, and Christian McCaffrey, for me, is the best running back in the league by a country mile. He's
Mm.
absolutely different class. Yeah, yeah. So they've got big weapons, and they've got quite a few others who muck in. So they're very, very good going forwards. They've got a brilliant defensive back in Sammy Bosa, he's huge. He just flattens everybody. I mean, he is a
Wow.
steamroller. So they've got great players in their team. There's no ifs and buts about it. But their quarterback is very, very, very good, Brock Purdy. But there is a difference playing in the Super Bowl. You've got probably 250 million people watching that game, maybe more.
They said, I can't remember, they said the stats this morning about how many people watched it on TV, like live, but I can't remember what they said. It was a ridiculous amount of
Yeah,
people.
it would be a lot. I mean, America probably had about 150 to 200 watching it.
Yeah.
And I mean, worldwide, maybe they had 500 million watching it. May well be. There's a
Yeah.
big argument going on about the NFL, the Super Bowl, and what does it compare to? And Talksport have been having a disagreement with the people from the NFL, saying that your NFL, it's really only for people in America. Most of the rest of the world doesn't give a monkeys. Which, to be fair, is true in the grand scheme of the whole world. Out of 8 billion people,
If you're talking about the majority, yeah.
yeah. But when the World Cup finals on in football, men's this is, yeah.
Mm.
You've probably got a couple of billion people watching that final around the world because it is the world sport. There's no getting away from that.
Mm.
So it attracts more interest from worldwide audiences. But the guy on the NFL saying, well, we make more money at the NFL than you do in the Premier League. And of course, they are right. They are right. There's no question it makes more money.
Big
They've
money in
been
the
going
NFL.
for almost 60 years, and the Premier League's been going for 30. And I
Mm,
can assure you, 30 years ago, the NFL wasn't chalking out that kind of money.
mm.
So I think that I think there might be a closing of that gap over the next 10 or 15 years with Premier League football. And of course, I mean, the Super Bowl is a fantastic event, but boy, doesn't it half drag, doesn't it? Half time, there's some guy on called Usher. Do you know who that is?
Yep, I've heard of Usher. Came out on roller skates, apparently.
Oh, right. Sorry, I don't think about what you said there. Right. I went off to do the dishes when that happened. Yeah. I absolutely no interest in it at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally took 20 minutes to do all the dishes and about another 20 minutes doing a few other bits and pieces. Came back and the start of the third quarter was on literally as he kicked it. So that took 40 odd minutes, 45 minutes. That's too long a break.
That is long, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, would you believe it? The game went to overtime as well. So it could have, when it could have finished probably about 3 o'clock, it finished at 10 minutes to 4.
So in
So
total, how long was it on for?
the match,
Hmm.
yeah, it just over 4 hours.
Wow.
So, you know, if you've got a ticket that's cost $2,000,
You've got your money's worth.
no, you haven't.
No?
$500 an hour.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what? If
And a
somebody said,
concert in the middle of it.
yeah, but a concert of someone I've got no interest in and couldn't name one song that they've ever done. I don't even know what type of music it is. I just put the volume on mute, so I went off. But the thing is, if they put Bruce Springsteen on it, I'd watch it
Yeah.
because Bruce Springsteen's a brilliant musician. All right, he's in his 70s, but his music and the stuff that he's made, fantastic. And it goes back 40 odd years.
Mm.
I honestly tell you, I know who, I've heard of Usher, but I didn't have a clue about any of the songs he's ever done. Maybe you might say, well, that's typical. And I don't mean it in a rude way. I'm not. I'm an older white male who probably isn't interested in the music that he's singing about. Is it rap music?
Mm. Not really. No, it's kind of more poppy,
Is it?
R&B type. Yeah.
I didn't even know. So
Yeah.
if you look at that, it wouldn't interest me. Most of the people that have on it wouldn't interest me. Nowadays, they bring out some person who's 70 years of age or whatever, and I don't mean it in a nasty sense, but most people's voices at 70 aren't there very much.
Mm.
Diana Ross came to Glastonbury last year, and I love Diana Ross, but boy, she can't sing anymore.
Yeah.
She's 79
Yeah.
years of age, for heaven's sake. What? She doesn't need the money, so
Why
you
be
know,
it? Why do it? Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
I
get
think
that.
I think when you've been at the top of a specific field, whatever it is, in my opinion, you're better off bowing out gracefully and let people remember you as being, oh, she had a fantastic voice. Oh, she was a brilliant actress. When you go over the top and you become, oh my God, their singing is crap. Who wants to listen to that? It's all gone to pop. It's sad,
Mm.
you
No, I
know.
get that.
I think so. It's not like actors. Some of the actors can go on till 80, 85 years of age because they're brilliant at remembering their lines. Well, they might be. We don't know because you don't know how many takes it takes to take.
True.
But you know, incidentally, away from that, my friend, I've got a very good friend of mine, Julian, who's sent me a thing about going to see the film that's supposed to be at the cinema. I know this is the sports bit, but this isn't anything to do with that. And it's with Sir Anthony Hopkins as the lead star, as Nicholas Winton.
Oh, I
Have you
think
heard of Nicholas Winton?
yeah, I think I've seen something about that.
Right. So apparently in the film, and Julian's told me this, he said, you wouldn't believe it. I went to see the film, obviously being Jewish, it's very teary for anybody who's of a certain age.
Mm.
And all of a sudden in the film, it says, oh, there's a list here. And in that list, all these people, and we've got two extras and Sir Anthony Hopkins is reading what Nicholas Winton had right in his hands, in real terms. And one of them was my friend's uncle.
Oh wow.
It was his father and his uncle, but he reads his uncle's name out. He said, "Oh, they're two extras, and this one's this one." And it was his uncle. And Julian sat there in horror. He was horrified. He couldn't believe it. And when you
God,
look at
that's
the list of all the
crazy.
people that were saved,
Yeah,
his uncle's on that list.
yeah.
So
God,
yeah, I've got to
crazy.
go and see it. He's told me you must go and see it. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's a must
I don't
watch.
normally go and see a film at the cinema these days, but I think I would go and see that. One Life, I think it's called.
I'm not sure. I did see a trailer about it, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I need to go and see that. I'm not sure that Steph would want to go and see it, but it's because it's quite harrowing.
Mm,
Sadly, I've obviously seen Auschwitz and Birkenau really in front of my eyes. It's pretty poor. It's
yeah.
not. It's quite soul destroying. So she might not want to go and see it, but I will take the time when I'm not at work.
And go and see it. I don't blame you.
Next day off,
Um,
Sunday week.
so all in all, are you glad you stayed up for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, tremendous game. I'm really pleased I saw it. I think the right team won it, not just because of yesterday. I think they deserve to win it because on the way to winning it, they won away at two of the biggest rivals on the way to winning the Super Bowl. So I think they did everything and they achieved everything. And I really do believe that they're a bit like Man City are at the moment. They're a
Do you
little
think kind
bit.
of they're like the new Patriots?
Yeah. And the thing is, if you look at Patrick Mahomes' record, I mean, it's astonishing. 4 Super Bowls already. He's only
Yeah,
28.
yeah,
Brady got 7, and
yeah.
he played in 10 finals.
He's
And
not
I
far
think
off
that,
it.
well, Mahomes has got a good 7, 8 years left in him for sure.
Mm,
And if
yeah,
they do keep going for the next couple of, they're not an old side. The Chiefs are quite a young team.
mm,
If they keep going for another 2 or 3 years, he could easily have 5 or 6 Super Bowl rings by the time he's 31, 32. I think he could. Amazing to think to say, but he could be the greatest of all time.
God.
I
That's,
know, and to think that Tom Brady's been regarded as that for the last 10, 12 years, 14 years, it's saying something,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Come on.
Okay.
Now, we heard about the NFL, but I know that every one of our 2 viewers wants to know about what's happened with the Milton Keynes basketball team, the Breakers.
Oh, well, they had a game on Saturday and I went down and commentated on it.
Yeah,
It
you
was,
posted that on thingy, Bob.
yeah, home game in for the league against Westminster Warriors. And they absolutely annihilated him. It was like 127, 60 something. So, yeah,
Very one-sided.
very, very one sided. But they're sitting second in the league at the moment because
Hmm.
they lost the second game of the season. And the team in top haven't lost a game yet.
But they're still
They,
going to play the Breakers, haven't they?
yes, on the 23rd of March. So the last game of the season. And for the Breakers, it will be an away game.
Right.
Um, so the Breakers still have to win every single game to even be in with a shout. And I was informed that
Was that only one goes up, though?
only one from the north and one from the south goes up.
Oh, that's a bit
So
rough if they're miles better than the other division.
I know. So it'd be heartbreaking if they don't get the win and go up.
Hmm.
I can't see Team Solent, who are currently at the top, dropping points in a routine league game. I think the
It's
deciding
just a game
factor
against the Breakers, really,
is
yeah?
going to be the head-to-head on the 23rd of March,
Which
definitely.
we call in the game in the business. Well, polite version is do or die, but that's not what I would say. But yeah.
Yeah, and guess what? Guess what? On the 23rd of March, I'm working.
23rd of March.
I mean, what is the odds? It's a Saturday.
Oh God! My daughter's school have they sent us an email today about doing a quiz night. And I went along to one the just few months before, well, 6 7 months before COVID, or 9 months before COVID came along, and they had a quiz night, which was mainly general knowledge questions, and some of the stuff I had no idea what it was because there was stuff for kids at school. So, but you have to bring a child with you because the child has got to answer those questions. You see,
Yeah.
and they did one of these things where you can play in this game where you have to decide whether there's going to be heads or tails. Yeah. And I told Emily to come and stand next to me near the front so we were in view, and I needed to be at the right angle to watch the teacher throw the money up. And everyone was doing heads or tails. And I said to Emily, she said, "What do I do, Dad? What do I do, Dad?" I said, "Let me just see when the coin goes up." And I called this right, 8 out of 8. So
Wow.
she said, then there were 3 of us left. And so the person who was doing it said, "Right, you can't all be the same. You've got to have difference." So Emily said to me, "Daddy, what do I do?" And I said, "You just do whatever I do. That way, we're either both right or both wrong."
Yeah.
So she said, "Okay." So the other girl decided heads. We were always going to, when it went up, I went, "It's tails." And I knew straight away tails. And I knew the other girl was going to go heads. So obviously, if it had been heads, we'd have been up. But as it went up, I said, "Don't worry, Em, it's a tails." And it was a tails. So there were just the 2 of us left. And this is out of about 80 people. So the teacher said to her, she said, "Oh, well, you have to do heads." I said, "No, no, no, no. You just give the prize to her." "Oh, why is that then?" I said, "Well, she's my daughter, so she can have it." And it was tickets to go to the cinema to see something, 20 odd quid's worth of tickets. So she took a couple of friends and went to see a film, which I thought was great. But Em was really surprised. She said, "How did you do that?" It's because I count things. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I've done it. And very often, I'd say I get it about 80% right as an average.
So you count how many times the coin.
It flicks, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's you've got to work it out when it's at the top of its arc. That's the thing. Because
Ah,
when it goes up and you flick it, it goes up in its arc turning. But when it gets to the top, it doesn't come down turning like that. It only
yeah.
comes down. It goes one turn, and the second turns when you catch it.
Oh,
But you've
that's a
got
bit
to
of an
count it
art,
going
that.
up. So that's why you've got to be very careful. So if you
Yeah.
start on the heads, depends how high you flick it. But if I've counted 9 up, I know it should be 2 down. So 9 and 2 is 11. So if it's 11, then you start on heads. So it's tail, head, tail, head, tail, head, tail, head, tail, head, tail.
Way. Perfect. That's a bit of an art, that is.
Yeah, but you've
There you
got to
go.
really watch it. And I can't see very well these days.
We know how to win a coin toss now.
Well, when I used to be captain of the football team many years ago, the guys always used to wonder why I nearly always won the toss. And the referee used to say, "Well, they're the home side if we were home."
Yeah.
And I used to look at the referee, say, "This is heads, this is tail." If he put his hand on heads and he flick it up, I'd count and I'd call it when it was 3/4 of the way up because I know it's going to go another 2 at least. And I used to call tails nearly every single week because they always started the coin toss on heads. And I honestly, I think nearly one whole season, I don't think I got it wrong. But that was when we were at home. Obviously, when you're away, you don't get the call. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well done. Now I know how to win.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you for
not
that.
that easy. You have got to count it.
You've got
But
to be
yeah,
able to count them. Yeah.
yeah.
So, should we
So
have
anyway, go
another
on about the Breakers then. So they played at the weekend, won easily,
one
no
easily?
injuries,
Sorry?
no injuries.
No injuries. No, thankfully. It was nice actually to see Andre Arisol, who had that really nasty injury a few months ago. He came down to support
Andre
and
what?
hmm?
Aerosol.
Arisol.
How are you spelling his surname?
I think it's RISOL.
Okay, glad you
Um,
don't say that incorrectly.
and believe it or not, he brought his dog with him.
He brought his dog with him.
Brought his dog. Never, ever, ever seen a dog at the basketball, but he brought his dog with him. And I have to say, the most well behaved dog I've ever come across at a basketball game.
Was it a
Considering
dog or a
here,
bitch?
huh?
Was it a dog or a bitch?
It was a husky.
Male or female?
I don't know. I didn't look.
it might have been a bitch.
It might have been. It might have been. But I mean, considering all the kids running around, the ball, bouncing, people running around, the noise in there, it was such a good dog. Such
Nah,
a good
yeah,
dog.
some dogs are well behaved.
Mm.
Funny you mentioned dogs because I would never own a dog and have it in my house because you can't have that. I don't like the smell of them when they're wet. But um, so I've got some greyhounds. Yeah, that I run a consortium, a
Yeah.
syndicate. So we've had a couple of bad results with our dogs getting injured and
Mm.
so severe that they can't race again. So we rehomed one last year, and I rehomed one yesterday, which I have to say was great because I haven't seen Scooby for about 6 months,
Oh,
and
Scooby.
he's such a lovely dog. He really is. He's very
Yeah.
very well behaved and mild mannered. Peed on everything on the way round the block of flats because he needs to mark his territory, and then peed on his leg because of the wind. But he's a lovely dog. So he's now staying with one of my students.
Oh,
Who's my
no.
oldest student. She's about 40. So she needed a companion. So she's got a companion, and that's cheered her up no end. I'll give her a call after this.
Oh,
Um, my other one ran last night. Butty ran last night at Kinsley in the 17:59 race. Led start to finish, which was great. So £100 went in the pot for the syndicate. We all lumped on at a massive price. So it was quite a good evening last night. Um, but, you know, he always gives a run for his money. I know like any sprint dog, he get traps well. If he's in trap one, I would back him to win every race because he will be at a decent price.
yeah.
And if he wins one out of every three, which if he's in trap one, he does. When he's in trap two or any other trap, he's not good. But in trap one, in a D2 race, if I backed him every race, same like £20 every race on him to win, he's always at least 3-4 to 1. One of the races he'll win for sure.
Mm.
So I don't really lose any money. I got the enjoyment of backing him, and in all honesty, it's fun seeing my dog run around and come home safely. So
Yeah. And not get any injuries. Absolutely.
no, he's been very good. He had a sore paw about 4 months ago, and he couldn't run for about 3 weeks. But other than that, he's been really, really sturdy. My bitch, she's been fantastic last year, Liz, but unfortunately she got an injury um, early December, and we weren't sure if that was the end of her career. But the vet said that as long as she's got about 6 weeks off, she should be fine. And she's had 8, and now she's being hand slipped. I don't know if you know what that means.
No.
So normally greyhounds they go out of traps.
Yeah.
So before they race, in proper races that are listed races, they have a trial. Sometimes they have more than one, but they have a trial from the traps. But before the trial stage, you have a slip race where the trainer holds the lead, and then as soon as the hare comes, he lets go of the lead. So he unhooks the lead, he holds it by the collar, and then they run. And the
Okay.
idea is to get them chasing around a greyhound. I mean, chasing around the hare, which obviously isn't really a hare, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the dogs seem to think for
It's a
some
cuddly
reason it's a good
toy.
idea to chase it. Yeah. So, I mean, I would absolutely wet myself if a dog came out the traps and said, "What's the point of this, mate?" and just turned around and went over.
It's a cuddly toy. I'm not interested. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bloody hair. I'm not coming after it. Yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it? I mean, I have seen some funny things at the dog races over the years. I mean, they jump over the fence and then try and jump back, and then because of infield, a lot of these dog tracks, the infield's got puddles and stuff, and they'll jump straight into a puddle.
Oh my word.
Oh, you see some funny things over the
Oh,
years. I've seen some absolute blinders, really, really funny ones. But
I've never actually seen a dog race, so
I think if you for a day out, an evening out, I mean, your nearest one's going to be Toaster.
yeah, I've heard they do it at Toaster.
Yeah, I used to go horse racing at Toaster. They've got dogs at Toaster. It's a great evening. It's a great evening. You go and have a meal in there, and it's a good fun evening. You don't have to bet very heavily. Honestly, you don't.
Yeah.
You can literally do a pounder race, and
Okay.
the fun that you can, it really is quite fun. And if you can go with a group, the best way of having an evening to enjoy yourself without loads of money.
Mm.
So you might have your meal and get in there and your drinks, yeah. But if you go where you have a competition, let's say you've got 5 friends, that's what you want to do, 6 of you, and each of you picks a number, and you put your pound in the pot between the other 5 people and you, and
Yeah.
whoever's dog number wins takes the £6 back.
Oh,
So
okay.
the worst you can lose is a tenner. The chances are you're going to win at least one race out of the 10 races, or yeah,
Mm.
you're bound to win at least one race. It's very unlikely you won't win any, but if you don't win any, well, it's cost you a tenner. It's not like it's a lot, yeah. And whoever wins the race, you just have it that way because you're not trying to make money out of your friends. You're trying to have a nice evening with your friends.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's the fun of it, really. Getting up and down to bet on with the bookmakers, unless you have an idea really about a dog, um, it's a very fast way to the poorhouse, I have to say.
Well,
That's why I
that's
don't back dogs.
gambling,
I
isn't
back
it?
my dog, yes, but I wouldn't. I tend to lay dogs because I always feel that you just get sprint races. You don't get out, you get beaten,
Yeah.
crowded, bumped, knocked over. So I'd rather take the risk that I've got the other 5 dogs running for me rather than the one that I don't want.
Yeah.
So when it's my dog, I'd like to have a 10 or 20 quid on my dog. I mean, I've had more before, but only because I hit the wrong button on Betfair, to be honest with you. I meant to press the 20,
Oops.
and I hit the 50, and then I hit the 20, and then I realised I had 70 on it, and thank Christ he won because I didn't realise I had 70 quid on it.
Oh my gosh, that could have been a very costly error.
Well, it could have been, but I mean, I was prepared to lose 20. I didn't realise I'd hit it for 70. But that was the night Butty won about, I think that was his lowest price odds as well. He was about 9-4, just over 2-1.
Okay.
But he never looked like losing. He just broke really quickly and he was gone.
Yeah,
And he won 4 or 5 lengths. So that's quite, in a sprint race, that's a long way.
that is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
well done them.
yeah.
Okay, so we haven't got a huge amount of time left, so you need to give me another Who Am I?
Yeah. So I didn't make it too difficult. Now listen carefully because you know what I'm like.
Okay.
I raced against my most well-known opponent from 1990 to 1993. And I'm famous for doing it live on TV with my colleagues.
Okay. Mm, yep, no, not got it yet. You're
Gets
looking very
easier.
smug. You're very
It
that's
gets
smug.
easier. It gets easier, I promise you.
I hope so. All right, should we go on to the Six Nations? I know you don't. Rugby's not your thing, but
Right, I'm going to tell you now. This is how good it is, yeah? I have no idea who played who.
okay.
I didn't even know it was on.
Oh my word!
And if it really helps you, because I've been working really, really hard, I've been going to sleep in the afternoon for an hour or so.
Yeah.
And I have got to tell you, hand on my heart, not a clue who played who. So I know you're quite good at having taken the mickey out of me on this.
It's a good
So,
job I know then, isn't it?
right. So you can ask me what the prediction is, and I will have a guess. And I swear I haven't got a clue.
Okay, right. So first game that was up. So it was played over the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. It was 2 games on Saturday, 1 game on
You do
Sunday,
know Spurs were playing on Saturday, so that was more important, yeah?
of course.
Okay.
But so just for your kind of
No,
guesstimate,
for you to take the mickey out of me, you're like, God.
Scotland at Murrayfield played France. What was the score and who won?
Oh, God. Well, this is going to be a real problem. Um, I didn't think the Sweaties were good at any sport, to be totally honest with you. So I
It was
would
actually
expect
a
France.
close game. I'll give you a hint
Well, I
there.
would have said France would win even before you said that, because I think Scotland are rubbish at everything other than making shortbread and whiskey. So if I've offended any Scotsman, unlucky. I really care a lot, yeah. um, let's think. I go for Scotland 20, France 25.
Oh, not too bad. So Scotland 16, France 20.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
No,
So the
no.
second game on Saturday was England Wales at Twickenham.
Oh God, didn't
This
they
one
have
was
the
very
World Cup?
close.
Didn't they have the World Cup last year? They did, didn't they?
Who?
Yeah. Did they have the
Wales.
World Cup?
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
who won the World Cup?
I
Who
think the
won the World Cup?
Springboks won it again, didn't they?
Did they?
I think they
Didn't
did.
England play? Then wasn't England in the final? No, they had a good game, didn't they? It was close, wasn't it? I'd say England must have won. I think England must have improved a bit, but I don't know how good Wales are. So,
Wales are going into this. They were one of the favourites.
oh,
Mm.
oh, uh, hmm, difficult one. I don't really know. I'll
Okay.
go England to win. Not picking the old number here. Must be quite close, I guess. 23-19.
Okay. England won 16-14.
Okay, so it was close game then. All right, that was a
It
good
was a
guess.
very
Okay.
close game. England in the last few minutes won it.
Oh, a bit like the Chiefs.
Bit like the
Okay, all right, okay.
And then on Sunday was Ireland, Italy
Where?
in Ireland.
Oh, they must have won. The Italians are only good at making spaghetti.
They're definitely not good at rugby, I'll tell you.
No, I think they're crap at rugby. They should stop playing in it. I go Ireland 37, Italy 15.
36-0.
Oh, was it a zero? What, to
0
Ireland, I assume?
to Ireland,
Oh,
yes.
right, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
they're Italy that bad?
well, they were against, it's funny, that's the worst game they played so far in this
Right.
Six Nations.
How many
Um,
games have they played?
2.
Oh, it's already started beforehand, has it?
Yeah, last weekend.
No, you just wait a minute. You say they've already played twice.
Yeah, the weekend, no, this weekend just gone and the weekend before.
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I didn't know that was on. Who played what? Who played who the week before then?
Oh, Lordy, I can't remember. I think it was England played Italy.
Well,
I think,
England must have won, certainly by the
yeah,
sounds of it.
England played Italy, France played Wales, and Scotland played Ireland.
Okay, so I assume that Italy were at home, were they?
Yes, in
Well, I
Rome.
have to assume England won because I think
England did
Italy
win,
shouldn't be
yeah.
playing
But it was a
rugby
little
in
bit
that thing.
closer, that one.
Okay, so I'll go Italy
Oh, you
15,
want do you want the
15,
you want the
England 30.
do you want the scores for
I'm
that
guessing.
one?
I don't know. I've no idea. I didn't even know it started.
Oh my word, hold on a minute. Okay, so here we go. Italy, England. England won 27-24.
Oh,
So that
blimey.
was that was what I mean.
See,
That
now I
was,
didn't know they'd played. So, to be
yeah.
fair, okay, so, well, okay, fair enough. So,
So
who was the other game? Scotland against Ireland?
are you talking about week 1 or week 2?
Well, I didn't know there was a week one. I thought this was week one. So, obviously, I was a bit shocked when you said it was week
So
two.
week 1 was
Yeah.
Wales versus Scotland
So, Wales
in
versus Scotland in
Wales.
week one in
Yeah.
Wales. So, I'd have
Uh,
to go for Wales and I would go. I don't know if it had a lot. I don't even about the weather. I didn't even know they'd been playing. 20 points to 14.
so Wales lost to Scotland at home, 26-27. Now
Oh my goodness.
I watched that game, and Scotland was dominating the whole of the first half. Like, I mean, it was like it was 15-point difference, I think, at one point. And then the second half, Wales just came out and
Came back.
dominated. Yeah,
Yeah.
and how they didn't win it, I don't know. But yeah, 26-27.
Oh, well, that there you go. You shot me there.
I
And the other
know.
game was France Island, then, yeah,
France Island, and that was in France.
in Paris.
Mhm.
Well, I'd have had to fancy France, but as you know, I never get any of the scores right. So 26-18.
To France.
Yeah.
So France 17, Ireland 38.
What?
I know, right? I know. Crazy.
Okay.
So the
So is England
table,
winning it then?
no, so the table after two games is Ireland's leading on 2 points. Um,
2 points.
sorry, Ireland's leading, then England, then Scotland, then France, then Wales, then Italy.
Don't you get 2 points for a win?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at a different thing.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
they've got 4 points. They both got four. So it sounds to me like England against Ireland's going to be the big one.
that's going to be a crucial deciding game.
Where are
That
they playing that one?
one. One moment.
Are they playing this weekend?
So yes, so this weekend you've got Ireland, Wales in Ireland, Scotland, England in Scotland, and France, Italy in
Well, France should
France.
beat Italy.
So the England Ireland game is week 4, so 2 weeks time, two
So
weekends
England are at home then.
on the 9th of March. Yeah,
So if they beat the Sweaties away, then they'll beat and they beat Ireland, then they'll win it.
but England's last game on the 16th of March is against France in Paris.
Yeah, but if they won 4 games already,
They've got to play Scotland.
that's it. If they beat Scotland, they'll beat Ireland. It won't make any difference, will it?
No, so it's good. I mean, it's close. So obviously, Wales went into this as favourites, and
Did they?
yeah,
And they've lost both games.
they have lost. Yeah, both games. Interesting.
Well, I know a lot about rugby, as you know. Yeah, I've been an aficionado of rugby ever since I was about 6.
Of course, you have.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that shows how much I know because I didn't have a clue it even started. I thought they played it in March and April.
Six Nations.
Yeah.
No.
Is it always in February?
I don't think it's always in February. No.
Honestly, hand on heart, I didn't know. I've got to be totally honest with you.
So
When
just
I watched rugby, when I did watch it, was when we had television and we only had BBC One and BBC Two and ITV, yeah?
oh yes,
It's about, it's about when you were born and the TV's changed over a little bit. But they used to have the rugby on the telly because there was nothing else on. There was no
yeah,
live football. And so if there's no other live sport on and the only sport on is rugby, you can't watch it.
yeah,
I used to watch. Well, there was rugby league, but they had a guy who used to be the commentator called Eddie Waring, and I don't know much about rugby, but I always remember his voice, Eddie Waring, and he always used to say funny things. And then he was on a program. Oh God, he used to be on in the evenings. Very funny program. Oh, I'm trying to think what it was. It's a Knockout. He used to be on a
oh
program
okay,
called It's a Knockout, and
yeah.
it was very, very funny program, and that's why I was remembering from the rugby. But I'll have to check now. I imagine he's been dead quite a long time. I'll have to have a look now.
Well,
I don't know.
I've just got some breaking news in.
Yeah,
Luke Littler has won the Players' Championship title. The darts player.
yeah, I know who he is. Right, Eddie Waring. Oh my goodness, he died in 1986.
Eddie
That's
Waring.
why that's why I've got to tell you truthfully, I haven't really watched rugby much since then. I know that England played in the World Cup final in 2003 because that was I think it was in the winter time, if I
Yeah,
remember rightly, and it was not. It was just when I finished work. I'm pretty sure it was just when I finished my old job, and it was about a month before I started rebuilding my old flat before I moved out to the Caribbean for a little while. So I don't recall much of the rugby. Again, I've never been a big fan of rugby. I
Yeah,
know, I understand why a lot of people are. Don't get me wrong. There's something for everybody, isn't it?
yeah,
Um,
I like the rugby.
yeah, my wife does. I'll be totally frank with you. If she has it on, I would have been asleep. She probably on very quietly. I didn't even know it was on. I slept through it on Saturday because I was absolutely exhausted. So
Yeah, and
honestly, genuinely didn't know it was on.
we also obviously have to mention very quickly, Africa Cup of Nations Cup final was on yesterday.
Yeah, a little
And
bit of a surprise.
uh,
Little bit of a surprise.
what, the winner?
I wouldn't have bet them to win it before it started. No, I thought Senegal would win it.
Well, they
Um,
both Nigeria and Ivory Coast kind of got through on the skin of their teeth, didn't they?
yeah, but that's cup football.
Yeah,
You know, it's weird. I mean, I remember the 1982 World Cup in football, and Italy were absolutely cack.
yeah,
They were absolutely cack. No, it was 80 when they played Brazil and
yeah.
Rossi scored. Was it 82, 86? 86. No, that was Argentina, 82. And they played Brazil and they were absolutely, they were such a defensive, negative side, Italy. I mean, honestly, I'd rather watch paint dry. It was
Yeah,
terrible,
they used to be at that time. Yeah.
shocking. And
Mm.
they had to play Brazil, who can't play defensive football. They can only play mad, chaotic football at the best of times. Fantastic to watch, brilliant entertainment. And Italy matched them in every department. And it was a most wonderful game of football, which Italy won 3-2. And I remember Socrates was playing for Brazil. And
Mm.
anyone that knows anything about football will remember that Socrates looked about 100, smoked about 40, 60 cigarettes a day. No, really, really, really. And he was just the most amazing footballer. I don't know
Yeah.
how he played. He mustn't have had any lungs left. But he was brilliant. The Brazilians were brilliant. And on the day, Italy were just ruthless. And Paolo Rossi scored a hat trick. And
Wow.
then Italy won the semi-final, quarter-final, semi-final, won the final 3-1 against Germany.
Mm.
I always remember Marco Tardelli scoring and then running off screaming goal. But Italy, that particular day against Brazil, was one of the greatest games of football I've ever seen. It's not in international level. That
Yeah.
was amazing, that game. It was the stupidest World Cup competition they ever put together. England never lost a game and got knocked out.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous. You had to play, I think, in a group of four, and then the top three sides went through, and then you went into a group of three, and then you played in that group both matches. It was just utter ridiculous how they did it.
Mm.
It's
Made
just
no sense.
no.
But
Um,
also, posted
Next World
today,
Cup's going to be a bit chaotic as well, I should imagine.
was all over the place, that one. Gosh.
Well,
Um,
no, it's coincidence that it falls in with Mexico and Canada having a charity. It's their sort of centenary year or whatever it is for both of them,
yeah,
um, and I hope that England. The problem is with America in the summer, it's really really hot.
you can be, yeah.
If you're in Florida, it's wet. If you're in California, it's boiling. If you're in
Yeah.
New York, you can't breathe. It's 90 degrees in New York in the summer.
It's ridiculous. It is
Well,
ridiculous.
see, I honestly think they've got the World Cup all wrong. I used to think great idea when they were doing it every sort of 4 years. It'd be in Europe, and then 4 years later it'd be in South America. That was kind of how it was.
Mm.
But now they're spreading it all over the world, and that's fine because it is a world sport. The problem is that we're governed on football now by TV. So Sky TV says, right, this game's on Friday, that's on Saturday, that's on Sunday, that's on Sunday, that's on Monday.
Mm.
There you go. However, with the World Cup, when we stopped have it in Qatar, we stopped because some idiot decided it should be played in a really, really hot country. Yeah? And so they had to move it from the summer to accommodate playing because they don't want players dying. But every specialist, doctor, who does the physical part of your anatomy will tell you that running around in 25 degrees as a professional athlete is doable. Running around in 30 degrees of heat for virtually everybody outside the most elite is exceptionally dangerous.
Yeah.
And at 35 degrees of heat, you are likely to have a heart attack, die, or suffer some sort of problem. So, America, Mexico, and Canada. The only time Canada's warm is June and July, right? And maybe a bit of August. Other than that, my mates live in Canada. He had snow in October. This just passed.
Yeah.
He showed me a picture. He said, "Well, look outside my door. He had 2 inches of snow in October."
Wow.
And they don't live in the coldest bit up north. They live in the southern part of Canada, nearest to the American border.
Mm.
So I just think, look, it's not the world's greatest idea. Why not play the football competitions in the World Cups years at the end of the year?
But then it's in the middle of the season, isn't it?
No, but that's the whole point. You see, we don't have to do things they don't do things here very well. If you look at Germany at the moment, they have 18 teams in their Premier Division. At the minute, they play 34 games and they have one cup competition. And their cup competition is basically like the FA Cup. So you could play 40 games a season, and if you're successful in Europe, you'll play 50 games a season, okay?
Okay.
If you're successful in England, you play 38 league games. You might play 4 or 5 games in the League Cup. You might get to the semi-final or final. You might play 4 or 5 in the FA Cup. And if you're successful in Europe, you might be up at 55 to 60 games.
Mm.
That's 20% more at 60 games. And physically, you can't take it. And the other side of that equation is, in Germany, which we had at the weekend, Leverkusen played Munich, and they're the top two. Munich got trashed. They're still 10 points ahead of the club in third, and Leverkusen are 5 points in front of Munich. They're 15 points in front of third place team.
Mm.
If you look in England, the top three are separated by 2 points, and Man City has a game in hand. So it could be 3 points between the top three. My beloved Tottenham are in fourth on 47, and Villa are on 46, and they lost again yesterday, Villa.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah.
And then Man United are on 41. So even if Man City were to win their game in hand, there's 14 points between first and sixth.
Mm.
In Germany, there's 18 points between first and fifth. And that's in a league with fewer matches. So they got, it's such a poor league, I can't tell you.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big difference.
Of course it is. The French league's a load of rubbish as well. And the Italian league is pretty well always dominated by Juve, Inter, AC, and recently, obviously, your mob's been involved. But
not so much, though. There's a few
not
other
this
teams
year, no.
up there.
But there are 4 of them, and that's it.
Mm.
In Spain, it's always Real, Barca, and Atletico, and someone else surprises.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my lot are really doing well this year. I think we might even nick 4th, which would be fantastic. Because
That'd be good.
Bilbao don't have a lot of choice of their players.
Yeah.
They all have to come from the Basque region. So it's a bit different. There's no doubt that the English league has got with it far and away the hardest league.
It is, for sure.
So,
well,
and
Steve,
we've got
rush you. We've actually gone over the hour.
Yeah, we're supposed to do an hour and a half, aren't we?
Yeah, I know, but I still haven't had another clue.
Oh, well, I'll give you. Well, you need more than one. Right. Okay. So you have to think now, because this will
Yep,
help with a clue of the
yep.
sport. I did it with three others in my team, but I used to do it with seven.
Used to do it with 7, and now there's only 3. Okay.
Well, have you got the
Okay.
sport yet?
No.
Really?
Used to have 3, 7 in your 8 in your team, and now there's only 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you haven't got the sport yet?
No. 8 in your team, and now there's only 4.
Hmm.
Was it golf? Is it? No,
No. Where would it be golf?
I don't know. I don't know. Like like the Ryder Cup and all of those, like
Yeah,
team.
but that's different. The Ryder Cup's got 12 members in a team,
Oh, okay,
and you can't play more than with one partner. So that would be 11 others and one other.
okay.
That makes sense.
No, I haven't got the sport.
You haven't got the sport. This is why you're struggling a bit. Okay. I became a sir, and I was knighted for my contribution to this sport.
Would it be cricket?
8 in a team and 4 in a team.
Ugh, I'm trying to think of a sport with
Do you know how
4.
many people are screaming at the TV now, or this going, "Are you a donut?" That's what they're thinking.
I'm trying to think of a sport with 4 in a team.
Sometimes there are only 2, and if you're really unlucky, there's only 1.
Is it tennis?
How can it be 8 in a team?
I don't know. Doubles?
If I give you the sport, right? Will that help?
That would help me a lot, thank you.
Rowing.
Oh. Oh. Um. Oh shit! What's his name? Um.
I can't give you. These are so easy.
The,
These
the
clues. It's
Olympic,
unreal.
the Olympic man, isn't it? The guy who won all the
Yeah.
Olympic medals. Um. It's not Ian Hargreaves, is it? It's not. No.
Who?
No. Forget that. Steve something
Redgrave.
Redgrave. Is
Is
it
that
him?
what your answer is? To Steve
That's
Redgrave?
my answer. That's my final answer.
Final answer?
Yes.
Wrong.
Oh. I don't know any other rowers.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Um. So it's not. It's not the. No, I don't know any other rower. He's the only one I know.
Really?
Yeah. Unless it's a female rower. Is it a female?
I'm a very well-known man in the field of my sport.
Oh, okay. No, obviously not then. No, I don't know
I've
any
got to
other
tell you, you're
rowers.
definitely not getting an invite to our quiz at school because your knowledge of sport. I've got
Oh,
a
that
bit of
would be
toilet
very
paper that
good.
knows more than you do.
I
Yeah,
li-
that's your knowledge of sport.
I literally just don't know any other rowers. Only that one Olympian man. Oh, hold on. No, he was a runner. I don't know any rowers. I
You must
don't.
know him. He's so famous.
I don't know any rowers. Do you know any rowers? You see, same as me. Red
It's
grey.
not Sir Steve Redgrave.
Yes, we know, but we don't know any other rowers.
Who said? Who came in and said something?
My husband.
Your husband.
Yes, I had to pick his brain.
Was
Do you
this
know
Family
any Roas?
Fortunes we're playing now?
Redbourne something.
We're playing Family Fortunes.
No, I don't know rowers. I don't know. Did he row with Redgrave?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay, okay. Um,
In fact, this guy got first 3 years out of four in the boat race.
okay.
And the year he couldn't do the boat race was because he was in the Olympics. So it's a bit difficult. He played two places at once. And in fact, for 20 odd years running, he won every single race he was in.
Oh, okay. No, I can't think. Can't think. Okay, we'll come back to that. Wait, have you? Is that all your questions? Is that all your
No,
clues?
well, I tried to make it as easy as I could, but you might remember it when I give you the next one.
Okay, all right. So we'll come back to that. So, cricket next.
Yeah.
What's been going on in the cricket?
Well, England, obviously, the next Test match starts this week.
Okay.
It's now 1-1. Kohli's out for the next two matches as well.
Why is that?
Jack Leach has got another injury. If England have ever had a more injury-prone person on a Test tour, I need to know who it is. That guy, he could fall over by himself. He always seems to get injured.
Oh.
You know, he's quite a good bowler, but in the subcontinent, yeah.
So what's that? Just unlucky, or why is he always getting injured?
Well, I just think he's a bit of a flid, if I'm totally honest. I'm sorry, but you know, he's quite a good bowler. His fielding's average. His batting is shite. I mean, he's in the team. He's like Phil Tufnell. Couldn't really field much, can't bat much, but could bowl well. You know,
Okay.
for me, I believe if you're playing Test match cricket at the highest level, which India is, that and Australia, the two highest teams you've got to play. I think if you're playing at the highest level, you need to be in a cricket team because you can do at least two of the three that you need to do. So if you're a wicket keeper, you can't just be a wicket keeper. You've got to be able to bat,
Yeah.
which England have got, in my opinion, far and away the best wicket keeper in the country. In Ben Folks, he's definitely the best wicket keeper. But I look at the England team, and I think Zach Crawley's quite a good fielder. He's a good batsman. I look at Bairstow, who's playing as a fielder,
Mm,
and he's a good batsman. I'm not saying he's getting great runs at the moment because he's not, but he's a good player. I look at Joe Root, who's not scoring a lot of runs, but he's also bowling and he's a good fielder.
yeah.
If you're in the team because you can bowl but you can't do anything else, especially in those conditions, I kind of think you're a bit of a liability.
Mm,
And it's a bit like having a footballer in your team who's very gifted but doesn't want to put a tackle in, doesn't want to track back. If you're having to do all the work for him, if you've got three runners around him and he's in midfield and you're running around doing all the tracking, you can probably carry him in that position because he creates so much. But
yeah.
in cricket, because it's a very strange sport, cricket, most people don't look at it. They just think, well, it's this game and that game. And how can you play a game that can last 5 days and nobody wins? But with cricket, when you're batting, it's a bit like them against us. There are only
Okay.
two of you. And when you're fielding, it's a bit like us against them. And you don't have that in any other sport.
Mm,
Football, it's 11 against 11. Every other sport, when you're playing it, you've got the same amount of people. Well, unless you get sent off, but predominantly it's 11 against 11 in football, yeah?
mm,
So with cricket, you might have 11 people on the field, but not the other team doesn't, only have two. So it's a very strange in that respect sport. And explaining somebody the rules of cricket, like I've got on my tea towel, which I got from Lords, always makes me laugh. Because what you're saying is correct, but if you read it, you get one team in the field and one team out. The team that's out tries to get those coming in out. And when you try and explain it like that, it is just hysterical, And
Yeah.
you explain it to someone who's not from England or not in a test playing country, they are
They
confused, to
don't
put it
get it.
bluntly.
Yeah.
Mm. Like you with the NFL.
Yes.
You get
I,
3 downs to move the ball 10 yards forward. That's all it is.
I know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know, but that's fine. Tara, you were blessed with good looks, whereas, brains went my way. You
Yeah,
know,
don't know about that.
have you made dinner?
Actually, my husband made dinner.
Has he?
Yes.
Oh, but he's Italian, so you might have got pasta.
How did you know?
Well, come on, do me a favour.
Pasta zucchini. It was delicious.
I don't eat zucchini.
Made her like that.
I
Oh.
won't eat. I won't touch a mushroom, and I don't like eggplant either.
Oh, okay.
No, not for me.
Mm,
Pasta, yeah. In fact, the funniest pasta I've ever had in my life was in Paris. My wife was about 5 months pregnant. We were wandering around Paris. She got hungry munchies because, pregnant, yeah. We went into this restaurant and I had tennis rackets for lunch.
tennis racket.
I had pasta shaped like tennis rackets.
Oh, okay.
And they brought us a portion. I'm not joking. I had enough for 2 people. It was quite cheesy. It was really nice. I loved it. She couldn't obviously eat all of hers, but I could because you've only been walking around for hours.
Yeah.
Appetite.
Blimey.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on from the cricket. Yes, next Test match is later this week. I think the 2 matches we've had so far, England won a game from nowhere, expected them to win. India deservedly won the last Test match because of the fact that one of their guys went and scored 200. If it had been out for 100, we'd have been in for a fantastic finish again. But that's the way the game goes. They batted very, very well and was a good game, and they deservedly won India. So I think this is the key game in the group of 5. Whoever wins this game is set up to win the series because if you're 2-1 up, it's quite tough to lose a series from 2-1 up with only 2 tests left. But we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Should be interesting. I mean, I've got to say that England's methods are a little bit sort of off the cuff, but what works goes around, and they make the game entertaining, and I think that's what people want.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
well, absolutely, they want entertainment.
I think we all do. I think the way the world is today as well. I think when I look back 50, 60 years ago, everything was so much more reserved, and people were very different in their attitudes to things.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody wants everything straight away. You ring up for a pizza. We've got to deliver within half an hour, or you get a free pizza.
Yeah.
Um, you want to go out and you want fish and chips. You don't want to wait for ages for it to be cooked. But I'd rather have a fresh piece of fish, not for me, for my wife or whatever. You don't mind waiting a few minutes at the fish and chip shop. It's part and parcel of how it is. And
Mm,
you used to get your chips and everything in a bloody old newspaper.
yeah.
Anyone my age group will remember getting their food in newspaper. Always.
Yeah. Well, we
You could read some of your chips.
we didn't have it in newspaper, but we did have it like it was paper, and they'd wrap it in a cone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it a cone and put your chips in.
Yeah, but they put a slice of greaseproof in it
Yeah.
nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember it categorically in newspaper. You could see on one of my chips it said Greaves scores. Printed on his chip.
On the chip.
I remember.
Excellent.
But I mean, it's different today. We live in
Yeah.
a society where everything's got to be now. But my age group, if you ask the people who are my age group, they will remember that everything was Monday to Friday. You went to work in the morning. Everyone said, "Oh, I had a 9 to 5 job," and you went to work for 9 o'clock, and you finished at 5 o'clock, and you got home for 6 o'clock, and your tea was on the table, which the wife had cooked because she didn't go to work. She looked after the kids and cleaned the house and all that stuff, and made husband dinner. And in the evening, they'd listen to the radio because a lot of people didn't have a TV. And if there was TV, they'd sit down and watch the TV on a small black and white TV.
Mm,
And Saturday mornings, sometimes Dad had to go to work till sort of 12:30. And that's why most of the men went off to football afterwards. That's why football matches were at 3 o'clock.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah? Did you know that?
yeah. No, I didn't know that, but
Yeah, so that's why they finish work at 12:30, and then they'd get ready and go at 1 o'clock or 1:30. They'd be at their local football match, sort of 2:30, 2:45.
mm,
Kickoff was at 3 o'clock, and you kind of set your watch to it. You got to Saturday evening, you had to wait for the newspaper to come round to see what the scores were, and then we had match of the day in the evenings. But Sundays was a family day.
mm.
We didn't have TV in the morning. You didn't have it. Saturday evening, you had God Save the Queen about 12 o'clock.
Yes, yeah,
And, other than that, unless something special was going on, a really special event, then that was it. The
that
TV
was,
shut down about 12:15, and that was it. And
yeah.
it didn't start again in the morning before 7, that's for sure.
No, it was. I think 6 o'clock was the earliest show. That was the news.
Yeah, and we used to have the kids' programs on a Saturday morning from about 8 o'clock in the morning. I used to get up especially to watch the kids' things.
Yeah, yeah,
And we didn't have phones, and we didn't have tablets, and we didn't have a computer, and we didn't know what anyone else was doing.
no, no,
The milkman came round in the morning, picked up his money. That was it.
just a different world.
It was a totally different world.
Yeah,
Double glazing didn't exist. You know,
yeah,
honestly, we didn't have aluminium windows.
yeah, yeah.
When you
True.
think about it, it's just when I look at it the way that the world is now, who hasn't got that? Who hasn't got double glazing? Who
I
hasn't
know.
got 3 TVs and an iPad and bloody phones everywhere? It's just the norm nowadays, isn't it?
It's very, very different.
Yep.
Well, I do want to mention before we kind of start rounding up a sad story that came out today
Hmm.
about Kelvin Kiptum, who
Who?
was a marathon runner from Kenya.
Who
He's
was it?
the
Sorry.
Kelvin Kiptum.
Okay.
So he's the world marathon record holder, and he was also a London Marathon winner. And he
Yeah.
sadly died today in a road accident in Kenya,
Oh,
age 24.
yeah, that's a tragedy.
So yeah, really, really
I
sad.
think when anyone dies who's top of their tree in any sport or any walk of life, it's very sad because that's the way it is, unfortunately, in the world. But that's a very young age.
It is
Tragic, very
24.
tragic. But again, you know what? Another country where they can't drive properly, and I'm not defending something I don't know, but it's half the chances. There's so many bad drivers around the world, especially in countries like that. He could have been doing something completely normal, and they got run over.
Yeah. Oh, and I
You
think
know,
I think he was in a vehicle from what I heard on the news.
he was in a vehicle. Was he
He was in a
driving?
vehicle as well. I can't remember. And an accident happened. He'd rolled down this like ditch, and yeah, unfortunately didn't survive the crash.
24 years of age, though.
I know. I
No
know.
life, is it?
Also breaking, Emma Raducanu. She's been knocked out in the first round of the Qatar Open. There you go.
And
There you go.
she's
There you
won
go.
one event,
She's I know,
right?
got an honour for it, which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
she's won one event. She's permanently injured.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Nice girl. Thanks very much, but not going
Yeah.
to lose any sleep over that. When
No.
you when you win something and you're good at what you do and you're regularly winning or regularly performing, but you can't
That's
always win.
different. Yeah, I agree.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at Ronnie O'Sullivan, name me a bloke, any sport, anywhere in the world that somebody can dominate for a length of time that he has. He's still winning. He's 49 years of age this year. He's
Yeah.
still world number one. Phil Taylor at darts was the only bloke I ever saw that dominated a sport so he was like so far above everybody else he played against.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's like that. I think half the time Ronnie doesn't even try anymore. I've watched him play for 30 odd years. He just looks like he's hardly trying anymore some of the times.
Yeah.
You think he's having fun? He just whacks the
He's,
balls
I was
about.
going to say he's
Well, they won't.
enjoying it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the others they won't beat me. Right, I
Yeah.
just want to finish this puzzle that you still haven't got.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm 6'5" tall, same as my friend Sir Steve Redgrave.
Oh. Okay.
My first gold was in Barcelona, and my last was in Athens. And I now work for the BBC.
Is that all the clues?
Yeah, I'm amazed you haven't got it.
I don't. I honestly, I only know the one rower, and that is Redgrave. I don't know any other
And
one.
who was his best mate?
Dave, somebody. Don't know. John,
Dave. Was it Rodney?
Rodney,
No, Dave.
Dave.
No, Rodney was called Dave, wasn't he?
What?
In Only Fools and Horses.
Oh,
All right, Dave?
okay. Um, no, I don't know. I don't know.
So you give up.
I give up.
Okay, that means you've got to send £5 to my charity.
Okay, who's your charity?
Legends on the Bench fundraiser is for people with suicidal issues. Next
Okay.
week, the first bench is being put in by the council at Sawbridgeworth, where my very good friend Mickey Hazard's nephew committed suicide a few years ago. We are in the process of trying to raise about £2,000 per bench to be placed in parks all over the UK. These are special made benches that can't be messed up by knife or people digging bits out with it or anything. They're bolted in and cemented into the floor, and they've got like QR codes built into the thing, so you can just touch it and it automatically directs your thing to a phone, so someone can talk to you straight away. And
Right.
this is if you've got mental illness or you've got suicidal problems or just general well-being. And if we save one life, it was worth every penny.
Mm.
So this is the charity that we're committed to, all of us at my group. Who is this Paul Peters? It's
No
very
clue.
nice of you, isn't it?
Yep. I know.
That's very nice of what he's written, isn't it?
God knows who that is.
I have no idea.
I will definitely donate to your charity.
Yep. So that's where it is to raise money for kids, not just kids, but anyone with those issues. That kind of problem when somebody commits suicide. I don't know how you deal with that as a parent.
Yeah.
And you come home and find that your kid's committed suicide, or something. I mean, scary, eh?
Yeah. It is difficult. It's,
So
it's been.
I seem like I've got someone that loves me called Paul. That's very nice of you, Paul.
Got a number one fan there, Professor Steve.
I've got a fan. How come I've got a fan? What happened to your fan? Would you like me to tell you who it was now?
Yes, yes. Give me the name, please.
Sir Matthew Pinsent. You don't know who he is?
No.
Oh, well, would suggest that perhaps you look on it and then just look at who he rode with. He never lost a race for about 30 years.
I
No,
will do
20,
that.
23 years.
Wow. No, I will. I
Never
will
lost.
research
Amazing.
him now. But
Yeah, 23
rowing's not
years.
my thing, and other than this Redgrave guy, I don't know any.
But my daughter loves
Yeah,
her rowing.
I
Yeah.
know he does.
I don't know if she knows who he is,
Oh,
but
yeah, she might.
she might. But the
Mm,
thing is, you can blame my wife for this, I've got to tell you. You know, it's not my fault. She was the one that said about rowing. So I'll give you a. I think I will give you an easier one next fortnight.
You keep saying that, and they just get harder and harder.
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna wrap things up. We've done the 90 minutes, no extra time. It's getting
no,
late. It's
just
very
forgot. I've got a fan club now.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Interesting. I don't know what to say to it. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. We may or may not have a guest on because we thought we were going to have a guest on this week, but unfortunately, they had to go abroad last minute. Should we
.com.
say? Mm. So we'll see. We may or may not have a guest for next week, but we are back
No, next fortnight.
for the next show in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Watch socials so we let you know what time it is. There may be a Sports Deck live commentary on Saturday, depending on where AFC Dunstable are playing. If it's a home game, then yes, there will be. So we'll have to see. Keep an eye on
Haven't you got
social.
their fixtures?
Oh, it's somewhere on my phone.
I love the way you're prepared.
I was having a look now because they've got home game tomorrow, but I'm working tomorrow, so I can't go and do that one. But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, good evening and good night to Paul Peters. You have a great evening.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will. You too, and we shall see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.